this is something that everybody's got a sense of to one degree or another, that the sort of changing landscape for universities around the world. So let's perhaps start off with, I'll ask each of you to just talk a little bit right now about where do you see where we are right now, the university systems around the world. You can talk about your own region if you wish. Actually, that's probably extremely valuable. Where are we? What are the challenges right now? Your Excellency, if you go into that first, and then we'll come at you with some questions.
Yes, thank you, Ted. So I would like to thank audience for attending this session. So first of all, let me rephrase the question. Why traditional models of universities are under pressure? The threat to universities today is not crisis, but the convergence of technological disruption, one thing, demographic change, two, financial strain, and shifting the expectation of society. All challenges model nowadays or previously designed for a very different era. If we talk a little bit about the converging disruptions, there are many disruptions in the higher education nowadays. One of which that related to the AI and digital platforms. Two, demographic shifts and lifelong learning. Third, financial constraints, geopolitical fragmentation, and finally, rising skepticism about the value. What is the result? The result, traditional campus-based, degree-centric models are misaligned with today's reality. So therefore, we need to change fast, especially with the dramatic change in the technology.
Yeah, and you mentioned there about being prepared for a different era. Professor Manfredi, you and I had a brief conversation yesterday where you actually touched on that very thing about that being a challenge at McGill. Elaborate on that particular point.
McGill University is a long-standing university. We were founded almost a half a century before Canada became a country, which means we've weathered a lot of storms. So, you know, asking, can we survive the next decade? We've managed to survive 2 centuries and a bit, but complacency would be our greatest enemy there. As a result of that long history, we've been able to develop prestige. Prestige and history are great assets, but they're not sufficient for meeting the future. I think universities are facing some really important challenges. I think if we look around the world, we've seen a decline in faith in science. We've seen the emergence of disinformation, not just misinformation, but disinformation. If you look at public opinion polls in North America, the United States is more dramatic than in Canada, but public confidence in universities has been declining. It's particularly difficult in the United States where the cost has been rising. And people are asking a question, is what university is delivering really worth what we're being asked to pay for it? It's not so much a problem in Canada where all of our universities are public universities, so tuition is quite well subsidized. So I think those are some of the issues that we have to deal with. AI and sustainability are 2 really important issues. You know, AI, when AI first really started to emerge, universities saw it as a threat. But we misread what the threat was. We saw the threat as it's going to help our students cheat better. But the threat was, I think, something you mentioned in the previous panel, that it's going to make some of what we do less relevant. I mean, just one quick example. Think about building a building or a house. There's really 3 stages to that. There's the aesthetic design, there's the technical specifications, and then there's actual construction. Universities train the people who do the first 2 things. We train the architects, the engineers. They're the ones who are probably most threatened by AI. The plumbers, the carpenters, the electricians, they're not so much until AI-driven robotics puts them out of business. So
Yeah.
it's our disciplines that are really under threat from AI.
Can I just tell you, too, that I think that that very thing that you just touched on is a source of the great deal of the political tension that we see in North America right now. There's this anxiety about, being obviated. Do you see any of that? I don't have to speak specifically about McGill, but speak generally.
No, I think, so I think there's two tensions here. If you're charging parents, they're the ones who mostly pay, very large amount of money to get an education that they look at and see as not being particularly valuable in the future, that's going to create a lack of confidence in universities. And secondly, you see governments themselves starting to lose faith in universities and saying, let's drive kids to the trades because that's where the future is.
Mm-hmm. And that, Your Excellency, dovetails nicely with a comment that you alluded to just a moment ago, preparing students for a labor market that has been shaped and is only being reshaped more and more by AI, by automation, by lifelong learning. It used to be factory workers were put out of business by robots that built the cars on the assembly line. Now, different ballgame, different set of people who are under threat. And a different set of people who, by the way, expected to be doing a lot better than those people who were working on those assembly lines. How do universities prepare students for this labor market influx, or is there an answer to that?
One thing we need to ask ourselves as leaders in higher education, are we doing enough to prepare our students for the job market? This is an important question we need to ask ourselves. We need to ask the teachers, we need to ask deans, senior leaders at the level of the university, and that's, I think, will lead to us, I think, to understand the educational ecosystem in the area. Nowadays, most of the universities, or let's say universities, must evolve from degree factories into what? Lifelong learning platform. Lifelong learning is a must journey for every, I think, student nowadays, because we would like now to equip our students for the future generation. How we equip it? And even those who are, I think, in the job market need to update their knowledge, need to be close from their academic institution where they graduate in order to know the updated in that field. For that, I think lifelong learning platforms are essential nowadays to have to develop adaptable minds, not just only for the employable skills, for an AI even shaped economy. We need to work together in order, I think, to develop that. What must change in the universities? First, shift from one-time degrees to lifelong learning pathways. This is very important, especially, I think, with the rapid change in the technology. Embed AI. AI is important tool, educational tool. We need to emphasize with this tool to support our educational journey at the universities. We need to improve the digital literacy across all disciplines. In terms of the skills, what skill we need as university to equip our students in order to be active in their community, active in their, I think, workplace when they contribute to the development of the nation. Critical thinking is one important skill, a skill that need to be teach the student, creativity, ethical judgment. This is example of skills that university need to work hard, and that should be across all disciplines, not only non-STEM. It should be non-STEM and STEM disciplines. Redesign the method of learning. We need to base in the project-based applications. This is very important. Two, assessment must focus in the application, not memorization. Application, and that will lead us, I think, to have a strong partnership with the industry, because students at the end need to solve issues related to the challenges of the community. So strengthen industry and universities collaboration is essential. We used to talk about this partnership long time ago. Did we achieve? I think with the emerging technology, I think we need to be very tight relationship between the universities and the industry in order, I think, to understand the challenges related to the job market and the future trends even in the nation. So important things, universities need to revise their strategy to align them with the need of job market, future trends, and national priorities.
There's a lot there that you said that I agree with, and in particular, teaching critical thinking, which I think is something that people have just sort of taken for granted. When I hear you talk about, lifelong education, speaking again as an American, I know that the reaction to that there, I think that would work well here. In the United States, American parents are going to hear, oh, look, they're going to put me on a subscription model now, and that they'll be after me for my income for the next 30 years. Let's talk about something that both Canada and the UAE excel at, which is competing to draw global talent. How can universities, and I'll start with you, Professor Manfredi, contribute to that effort? I mean, they feel pretty central to it to me.
Well, certainly the ability to attract students is very international students. They bring a lot. They bring a lot to Canada. They bring a lot to our university. They are most of our doctoral students, and those are the drivers of research, the research enterprise in universities. At McGill, we've got 40,000 total students. Around 30% of them are international students. They come from 150 countries. And no country has more than 20-25% of our international students. So we're very lucky. We have a very diversified portfolio of international students. Those students, in turn, become ambassadors for the university around the world. So we have around 350,000 alumni in just about every country in the world. So they are an incredible engines of research, incredible engines of innovation, and so McGill has always been very successful at that. One of the areas where we, I think, need to improve, and it's one of our new president's priorities, is expanding globally. McGill's been very good at attracting talent to our university, to our campuses in Montreal, but we have not made as much of an effort to project McGill into the world. And that's, I think, something that our president wants us to do, to have McGill not just attracting talent to our campuses in Montreal, but taking what we've developed through our long history and bringing it to the world.
All right. And in the case of the UAE, United Arab Emirates University, what's the role that your institution can play in assisting the government here and the economic environment at large to drawing that global talent?
Since establishment of UAE University in 1976, UAE University played a major role in providing the different sectors in the country with the skilled student that can contribute and play a major role in the development of the nation. So far, I think UAE University graduated more than 85 students, and 85,000 students, and they are spreading across all entities in the UAE, and some of them are, I think, contributing to their nation, as 17% of our students are national. And UAE University, in addition to that, can play a major role, especially in the research and development. We consider UAE University as a hub for innovation. Maybe from 2 weeks ago, we announced that UAE University has a major milestone in which we reached to more than 30,000 publications since the first paper issued by a faculty member in 1978. This is a big milestone for the university, and that's account, by the way, for about 70% of total publications that produce in the UAE from different universities and from different governmental entities. In terms of innovation, I mentioned that we are consider ourselves hub for innovation. Within, I think, 1 month or 2 months, we'll announce another big achievement. Will be like among the top 100 universities globally in terms of number of patents by NAI, National Infantry Academy of USA. This is, I think, will increase even the our contribution to the nation. Important things also, we are working closely with different entities in the UAE in redesigning our curriculum. We started, I think, with the beginning of the academic year 24-25, I think, and we have a clear mandate to all deans at the colleges to look to their curriculum, review the curriculum, and work closely with the industry in order to have a strong curriculum that meeting the industry need and will support the national priorities and what we need to be in future. We have a big mandate. This year is considered even a milestone for the university in which we'll celebrate the golden jubilee of the university, and that has been endorsed by the UNESCO to be 2026 year to inaugurate the establishment of higher education in the UAE with the establishment of the UAE University in 1976. Mandate is high, the bar is increased, especially with those achievements, and I am sure we need to work with the industry locally and globally in order to increase our reputation and increase our contribution to advancing the science and technology.
Excellent. We've got enough time for me to give both of you one more question. Funding and governance models. I'm going to ask you to just hold forth on this one. What changes would you like to see, or do you think it are advisable for universities at large to see to their models for funding and for governance? I think especially the former.
Well, I think on the funding side, McGill, like all Canadian universities, benefits from significant public funding. Around 40% of our total revenue comes from a grant from the Quebec government, so $400 and some odd million a year. We'd like to see that get even higher if we can. I think what universities like ours have to do is we have to diversify our revenue streams. We can't simply depend on government support where we have it. We can't simply depend on the tuition that we generate from our traditional programs. We have to think about what other kinds of programs that we can use. And we also rely tremendously on philanthropy. We have by Canadians, we have the highest per student endowment among Canadian universities, just over $2 billion, which of course, so we have great, very generous alumni and other supporters who support us. That's important. One of the areas where I think we need to do more, and I think universities generally need to do more, is generating revenue through industrial partnerships. And I think that will both enhance our academic mission, but also obviously help the bottom line.
Okay. Your Excellency, what are your thoughts on that one?
So I totally echo Professor Manfredi in terms of strengthening the partnership with the industry to generate revenue for the university through the research partnership. I think we have number of the active research activities with the industry. However, I think now with the changing the ecosystem, educational ecosystem here in the UAE, I can say university can sustain their funding with one condition. What is this condition? Is reforming. So we need to have a will to form our education. We need to have a will to change the university's ecosystem. So the important, as I mentioned, with only one reform can help us, I think, to sustain our funding. So there are number of key pressures. One, public funding, tuition resistance, rising cost, and enrollment uncertainty. Those challenges are related to the funding, but university need to work to have a policy strategy in order to overcome those challenges. In addition to that, there are a number of governance challenges, which are slow decision making, misaligned incentives. In order to have a sustainable models at higher education, so that's require one, strategic autonomy and accountability, two, revenue diversification, and mission-based prioritization. And that's, I think, will help us to have a sustainable ecosystem and funding at the higher education, with the important, I think, factor which is related to the industry partnership and the investment in education.
So a lot of overlap on those questions from both of you there. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being here with us. His Excellency Professor Ahmed Alraeesi, Professor Christopher Manfredi. I'm Ted Kemp, Chief Content Officer from Khalij Times. Thanks, everybody.